Just a quick story. It's winter time in Indiana, and I'm driving a little Miata, which is not a great car to be driving in the winter. And I'm on the highway, and there's snow on the highway. I'm driving at a very low speed. I'm being very careful. I'm probably driving like 30 miles an hour. I'm just trying to get home in this snowstorm, but there's already some ice on the highway. Everyone's driving really slowly. It's dark out. It's not late at night. It had just gotten dark out. And all of a sudden, I could feel the back of my car start to fishtail. And in that instant, for some reason, I knew that the best thing I could do was take the hands off the wheel. My car fishtailed off the highway to the right and down the embankment and up and around, and it was spinning. So I'm spinning up the embankment, back down. My car came to a complete stop, completely parallel to the highway on the highway shoulder. It was incredible. And I look back and you can see the spiraling, where the tires had crossed in the snow because the car was spinning. So I called my dad and I said, "Hey, I just had this thing. I'm totally fine." He's like, "Hey, do you know where that gas station is? I'll meet you there." And the gas station's like 5 minutes up the road or something, right? I mean, very close. I'm like, okay. So I get back on, I'm still on the same highway. Everyone's driving really slowly, like 30 miles an hour or something, right? I'm driving now. I'm just have to go a few miles. My car, the back starts to fishtail again. What actually happens is my car had turned completely backward. So I was sliding backwards on the ice, looking at the headlights of the car right behind me. And somehow I knew just to go like this really quick with the steering wheel. And my car did a complete 180. And now I'm just driving forward as if nothing happened. This was like ridiculous. I mean, first hands off the wheel surrender, right? And this whole experience. And then somehow, divine will just told me like, do this and a quick 180. And there I am. So it's kind of funny, these embodied experiences where the universe is trying to show us certain things at some point on the journey. If we want to fully embody our highest self, fully embody our soul's light without distortion, we have to hand ourselves over to divine will. So that's not negotiable. So at some point on our journey, we must surrender to our highest self, to divine will, if we want that type of outcome for ourselves. That said, there can be a lot of confusion around surrender. I've seen a number of people say, I'm going to surrender to this situation. That's not the type of surrender that I recommend. That's giving up and giving in. There are also people that might, on purpose or accidentally, surrender to things other than their highest self. Potentially a guru, which I do not recommend, potentially other consciousnesses, whether it's guides or spirits, other disincarnate beings. I also don't recommend that. For me personally, I always recommend to surrender to your highest self or divine will. Now, within that context of surrender, there's also confusion where a lot of people think surrender is let go, let God. Let me take my hands off the wheel. So if we're driving the car, which is us and our life, navigating our life, I'm going to surrender to God. I'm going to take my hands off the wheel. God, you drive. So the fact is, sometimes that is an incredibly wise choice and absolutely the very best thing to do. Other times, there's a different type of surrender, which is hands on the wheel surrender. I've surrendered to divine will. I've surrendered to my highest self. And now my highest self, or God, Goddess, the universe, is telling me, drive the car, hold on to the wheel. You're driving, but we're going to tell you where to go. Drive the car, go up 3 blocks, turn left, then you're going to cross the bridge, turn right. There's going to be a lightning strike. It's going to hit a tree. That tree's going to fall in front of the road. You need to swerve around that to the left. You got to hold on really tight for that maneuver. And then you go up a little further and turn left, and there's something there on your divine path waiting for you. So this is hands on the wheel surrender. And a lot of people, when they get into surrender, they don't realize that that's a type of surrender. And it's a bit of a paradox, right? Because it's essentially control within the context of surrender. A basic part of my philosophy is we surrender to our highest self, we ask for perfect discernment, and then we follow that perfect discernment wherever it leads us. So sometimes our highest self says, hold on to the wheel. This is tight terrain. You have to navigate very carefully and go over here, right? Other times, divine will says, take the hands off the wheel, let me drive. And then what happens is they're taking their hands off the wheel when they're not supposed to, and they're driving into a ditch, or they're driving into a building, or they're driving into some pedestrians or harming other people. There's a lot of beautiful, well-meaning spiritual seekers who are just driving into a ditch in their life, and they don't understand what's going on because they're following these teachers. Oh, well, I'm letting go, letting God. Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing? But here I just hit a tree, and here I just drove into a ditch, and this part of my life is not right, and this thing just went wrong. So these teachings, these philosophies around surrender, it's really quite important, these nuanced distinctions.